All right. Hey, what is up, everyone? It's Rochelle Renee. This is episode 79. And today I am excited to be providing a channeled reading for the collective listeners of the podcast, my followers on social media. Just what is 2024 going to bring? What can we expect in this new year ahead of us? It is December 27th. It is Wonderful Wednesday. And with this new year coming up, just days away, I wanted to provide this channeled reading for everyone. Since we are so close, I cannot believe that 2023 is coming to an end. In some ways, it has felt like a really long year, and in other ways, it has sort of flown by. Time has definitely felt kind of strange this year, at least for me. So, all right, let's jump right in. So before I get to the cards that I pulled for the year, I also just asked Spirit and my angels if there was sort of an overarching message or theme for 2024 for the collective listeners of Faith, Fitness, Joy, and those of you who follow me on social media. And the answer that I got was progression, which I think is a great word. I feel like I know for myself and some of those that I have done readings for this year, 2023 has been a year that's been very emphatic and focused on healing and going inward and connecting to the inner self, the higher self, maybe even sort of focusing on connecting deeper to God than perhaps other parts or other times in my life and in others' lives. So I think it makes sense in some ways that 2024 would be more of a shift towards progression. So we'll find out more about what that means as we go along. But I'm also hearing right now that it's going to mean that certain things are going to start to come to fruition, certain things that people have been working towards, goals or projects that you've been developing or working on, or maybe you've had kind of in the works, or that you sort of put out there and tried to kind of get going and maybe haven't been able to make the traction that you've wanted to. That is going to start shifting for us in 2024. I'm hearing prosperity, I'm hearing love, and I'm hearing ascension. So let's see what else we find out here. So the first thing I did is I pulled some cards and I asked, what are the three primary universal laws that will be sort of the theme or governing 2024? So the first card is the law of non-attachment. Give you a sec to look at that if you're watching the YouTube version. So it says, let go, release, and allow miracles. And I think that's interesting given some of the words that I've been given already as I started to tap into sort of what are some of the overarching themes for 2024, and hearing things like prosperity, progression, things coming to fruition. So a big part of that is non-attachment. And what that means is okay, so they're bringing the verse of the Bible to me, like ask and it is given, seek and you shall find, knock and the way will be open for you. And it's the reason that they're bringing that verse to the forefront right now for me is because we often pray, we often ask for things, but we don't necessarily really have a lot of faith that it's going to happen. And sometimes we like cling on to that prayer or whatever we're asking for with dear life, like for dear life, right? Like we want to try to figure out the how. We feel like we have to take it into our hands somehow. This can be consciously or not. It can also be very subconscious. And we're also kind of always looking externally and expecting some grand response. And that expectation and the inability to let go is what sort of delays or hinders our receiving. of the prayers that we have, because we're energetically, we're saying to God that we don't really believe, or that we don't totally trust that he will provide, that he will give what we ask for, that he will show the way if we knock. Right? So the law of non-attachment is really about faith. It's about trust. It's about letting go and surrendering. So there's the part of asking for it. There's the part of getting clear about what your desires are. And this is also manifestation, because when we're asking God for things, we, in the Christian realm, in the biblical sense, or at least as a lot of us that are grown up in religion have been, taught, it's like we're asking for it, we're praying for it. But it's the same thing as it's essentially manifestation when you look at what the Bible is saying, and when you look at, what people will teach you about manifestation. It's all the same things at play. And one of the things is the believe part, right? If you've ever seen the movie The Secret, it's like ask, believe, receive. The belief is really very important, and that's one of the places where the law of non-attachment becomes really important. It's like ask for it, and then the next thing is to just trust and know completely that it will be given to you. And don't forget that there is divine timing at play here as well. Some people, if you listen to other people that talk about manifestation and such, a lot of times it can get confusing. I'm not going to say that they're intentionally misleading people or anything like that. That's not the case, and that's not what I mean. But I feel like one of the things that kind of gets lost is that there's still divine timing at play here. God is still God, and God, loving you as his child, can see the bigger picture of things, and he can see what's going to benefit you. He can see when something is going to be the best in terms of the timing for something to come into play. And there's also an element of when you're ready and when you're prepared and when things in your life are lined up. So all of these things come into play. And with the law of non-attachment, it's kind of like moving on after you ask for something, after you set your intention or get really clear about what your desire is. So it's that next element of like, okay, I'm going to let go of it. I'm going to surrender it to God. I'm going to leave it at his feet. And I'm going to trust that it's going to come to me, because that's your only job, really. Your main job is like being clear about what you want, and doing the things that align you with that thing. So, that's where the energetics come into play, like being in a positive state, being in a state of gratitude, being appreciative for what you have right now, being present, but then detaching otherwise from whatever it is that you are asking for. So the law of non-attachment is going to be one of the main universal laws at play for 2024. The second law is the law of polarity. The moment that you judge anything as good or bad, you set the universe into motion. So again, this is where it's like putting energetics into something. So if you understand that everything is energy, energy in and of itself isn't necessarily good or bad. It is what it is. It's energy. They're bringing money to my mind right now. Money is a great example of where we have extremes and we have polarities in terms of how it's viewed or judged. There are people that believe money is evil, and there's people that believe money is like everything, and then there's everyone in between, right? So the law of polarity is going to be the second universal law for us in 2024, and the importance of this is that, okay, it's going to be really important this year to be the the objective observer with everything. Whether it's aspects of yourself that you're looking at and trying to heal or trying to improve, whether it's thoughts, whether it's limiting beliefs, whether it's the actions of other people, whether it's your job, all these different aspects of life. It's going to be sort of a thing in 2024 just to learn to look at things objectively so that you can see them for what they are and not having those judgments that we tend to place on things based on sort of our programming, right? Because we're all raised with different programming, right? Like everybody's parents had different views about money, for example, or discipline or values or whatever. And all of that sort of colors the way we look at things. And then that leads us to placing judgments on things as, quote, good or bad. And they're drawing my attention back to the last part of this, that you set the universe into motion. So based on the judgment you place on something, let's say it's money, they keep bringing money back in, it's going to, the universe is going to respond accordingly. So if you're asking for a certain amount, but then on the flip side or deep down inside, you are thinking of receiving that money, that amount of money, as shameful or bad or selfish or whatever negative type of emotion you might have with it, the universe is going to respond accordingly. It's going to honor what you believe about it. So you have to become mindful of how you look at things. And it's really going to be important in this year to really start to try to neutralize how you view things and really working on not judging anything as good or bad, trying not to put anything in the category of good or bad, and trying to see things for what they are and learn from that. Trying to see what else I get here. There's also something coming through right now around masculine and feminine, light and dark, like the concept that polarity is part of nature. And they all have their place. It all has its place in life and in nature. So trying to see the role something is playing as objectively as you can and getting the lesson from it. Because when you're too quick to say something is good or bad or to put some sort of a judgment on something, you're no longer seeing it objectively, and then you're no longer able to see clearly. Because now you're kind of clouded by your preconceived notion or your judgment. So in order to really see clearly, you have to really practice being the neutral observer, particularly for yourself, I'm getting. So that's the second universal law. And the third one is the law of action. Get out of your comfort zone and take bold action today. So one of the things coming through here is the importance of sort of stretching yourself. Trying to articulate what I'm getting here. It's like Okay, something one of my mentors says. He says, all flat lines fall. So it's like if you stay at a certain level, if you stay in a comfort zone, if you play it safe all the time, if you play it small, if you stay in this lane that you keep yourself in, and you're never doing things that maybe aren't comfortable for you, or maybe that scare you a little bit, or stretch you a bit, or challenge you in some sort of way, you cannot grow. You can't become stronger. You can't rise. You can't. You end up, you're going to stay stuck for a bit, and then you're going to start to decline if you do that for too long. So the third law here is really about the importance of taking action, stretching yourself, getting out of your comfort zone. And I'm hearing the resistance is the way. So these are going to be things that like are going to come up as nudges for you. They could come up from, they could be things that maybe like a mentor or a coach or a friend is like kind of trying to nudge you towards, like, you'd be really great at that, or you should give that a try. Like, why don't you go for that? And it's going to be that those things that you're going to be like, oh no, I can't do that, or no, that's too scary, or no, I would suck at that, or whatever, right? These things that you resist, that's what you want to lean into in 2024. That's where the growth is. That's where the prosperity is. That's where the success is. So that is the third universal law for 2024. Okay, so let's see what we have in terms of what is ahead for us in 2024. Okay, so this card. I keep getting this card. All right, kind of looking at this in quarters here. So I pulled 12 cards, one for each month of the year. Okay, so the first one we have is the Hanged Man. Second, we have the Moon. And third, the Knight of Cups. So this is January, February, and March. So I'm getting something right away about the, like, suspending yourself, being suspended, almost like immobile on certain things that you might want for yourself. Almost like being in a limbo, or just like something you want to move toward or have for yourself, but you're like immobilized. And it has to do with the past. It has to do with um, things that have happened to you in the past. Where um, maybe things people have done to you, or things that have happened to you, things that haven't worked out that left you feeling disillusioned, or heartbroken, maybe betrayed, and like just questioning things that have made you question yourself, and maybe even doubt yourself, or what you're worthy of, or what you can have. Um, and I'm getting a heavy vibe that this has to do with relationships, in particular romantic relationships or partnerships. But it's like these things are like you're coming to a place in the beginning of the year of like recognizing that you have to let go of the past, that you have to um, allow yourself to see the lessons that it taught you, the things that it provided you in terms of lessons and maybe clarity or where you can grow. But not holding you down or holding you back or keeping you in these negative places or um, like tied to these limiting beliefs and the emotions of these limiting beliefs. It's like time to let that go. And so I think I'm getting like in the beginning of the year, that's what a lot of you are going to be moving through is like cleaning a lot of that up and really looking at, and it doesn't have to just be about romantic partnerships. I feel like it could be relationships in general, but for some of you, this also has to do with, like maybe if you're single, like some stuff that you have to kind of clean up and move through to get into that next place of being really ready. But it could also be really any area in your life where you are holding on to past things of the past, and that's keeping you held back. It's keeping you from receiving what you really want. Because on an like energetically, subconsciously, and it could even be consciously, you're saying like, I can't have that, or this has always gone wrong in the past. This has always been bad. It's never worked out for me. I've always gotten hurt, or they always lie, or they always leave, or the bottom always drops out, or whatever the limiting beliefs around it are. But the key here is letting that go, like releasing the emotion of it, forgiving all of the people and yourself, and releasing. And then sitting down and looking at those limiting beliefs and alchemizing them, which means to rewrite them, like to look at them again, back to this neutral observer type of thing. Look at them with new perspective, neutral perspective, and ask yourself, is this really true? Is there some, universal law that declared that this is the truth for me? No, right? It's always, these are always lies. These are always things that are not true. But we create them at some point in our life to protect ourselves. So now it's a time of seeing these things for what they are. They are, limiting beliefs or lies of the ego that were designed to protect you for a certain season. And now that season has gone. That season has passed. It's gone. You're moving into a new season. And so it's time to be like making peace with it. So, okay, I'm getting, one of the ways you can do this is to sit down with these things, lay them out, write them out. What are the stories? What are the limiting beliefs that you have around certain things? So for me, it has to do with past relationships and things that have happened and what I have made those things mean about me, and then rewriting that into things that feel better. But then the next step is to cut the ties and release the emotions of those past events and the people that did the things, so that you're no longer like energetically bound by them. And instead, you're pulling out what those things have taught you, the lessons that you gained from those things. And also what gifts emerged for you from them. What did you learn about yourself from those things? And then that's what you carry forward for yourself, and you leave the rest behind. And then it's like you're opening your heart up for all of these new beautiful emotions that you want to feel. So again, this can be for those of you that are single, like making room to allow that person in that you've been wanting in your life. If it's not about that for you, it could be, this is also where it's like, now you've made space to fill your heart and your energetic centers with these other beautiful feelings and emotions in place of the ones that have been keeping you down or holding you back. So whether you're releasing shame or guilt or anger or resentment or bitterness, whatever it is, you'll be able to replace it with these other, really positive, loving relationships, beautiful, beauty, love, gratitude, bliss, romance, happiness. So the beginning of the year is really like clearing the clutter, so to speak, emotionally and energetically. And this is not, I feel like this is not going to be like, it could be a couple things. But I think for most of you, you've been doing a lot of work around this stuff. Now it's just a matter of like, they're showing me like back in the day when you would be recording on a cassette tape and you rewind the tape to record over whatever was on it. It's like that. It's like you're clearing you're erasing these stories and you're writing new ones and you're replacing them with new beliefs, new truths, new stories, and you're opening yourself up to head back out there and be open and ready to receive whatever it is that you've been kind of keeping yourself from like not allowing yourself to move toward because of these sort of past stories that you've held on to. So moving into the second quarter, so we have, let's see, April, May, June. Oh, wow. Okay, so we have lots of fire energy, lots of passion and excitement. Yeah, like passion and what's the word? Like ignited, like you're on fire for something as you move into this next part of the year. And I see for many of you, this is like new partnerships, teams, this could be new jobs, where you're working with new people, or it could be projects where you're working with new people. If it's in your business, it could be collaborations or opportunities or new connections with others that can help you. And I see for many of you, it's like working with groups to move toward a common goal that you're all really passionate about. I'm getting something too about like the pieces are starting to fit together. Things are starting to fall in place as you continue to follow your passion and what really excites you and what really like lights you up. The more you follow that light, that fire, it's like all of these things are starting to fall in place, and like you're able to keep, moving up and getting closer and progressing towards what it is that you're passionate about, that you're trying to build or trying to create and have been like following. And then we have the Magician card. So then, it's like stepping into your creative abilities, really learning about and tapping into your creation of abilities, your ability as the co-creator of your life, really connecting to that inner power that God has given all of us to be able to manifest and co-create our dreams and our desires in our reality. And so it's like really tapping into that in this part of the year, into this second quarter. I'm getting like a connectedness with the universe, really starting to understand the infinite nature of the universe, the infinite possibilities and opportunities that are available, and really tapping into that. It's like this aha and this unlocking of like, oh my goodness, like there really are no limits to what I can have, to what I can do, to what I can be. There really is no limit to my potential. And as you start to tap into that, you start to really play with what you can create. And then, the Wheel of Fortune, right? So, like just everything falling in place for you, everything coming together. All of this work you've done paying off, all of the chances you've taken starting to reap reward. Um, Fortune turning in your favor, things starting to shift for you, and starting to work out for you, and you're starting to see how things are coming together, um, and just like this, like on top of the world, like just as you come into the second half of the year, um, just like in awe of how the tables have turned for you in your favor. And then moving into the second half of the year, so June, July, August. So we have the Three of Swords. Again, this card I've been getting a lot. Judgment and the Hermit. So, like, I'm hearing that song, The Dark Days Are Over, Florence and the Machine. I can't think of the words, but like I can hear the song. Like the dog days are over, whatever that song is. It's the Florence versus the Machine or something like that. I'm hearing that song. So basically the point is like your pain is over with, your agony is over with. Like you've come through all this shit, and like you're coming out on the other side. Like, and there's almost like this element of like, hard to articulate the energy from this. It's like almost laughing at the people who tried to hurt you, the things that life threw at you that were meant to like knock you down and keep you down, or like totally like take you out and destroy you. Things that you've moved through and overcome that have destroyed others who've gone through something lesser or similar. I'm hearing like you didn't let it harden your heart. You didn't let it change you. You didn't let it make you ugly, in the sense of like you didn't start projecting this ugliness out to the world as a result of shit that you were put through, that you had to overcome, that people did to you. Lots of substantially painful heartbreak and grief that has destroyed other people, that would make many other people bitter and ugly, and would make many people harden their hearts, and you did not, that did not happen with you. And so it's like, and I'm getting like, I'm hearing like, and I'm gonna open my heart anyway, and I'm gonna still love anyway. I'm getting really emotional. It's like, oh, I wish there was a word for this. I don't know the word, if there is one. It's like having come through all this, and instead of being nasty or bitter or angry or resentful, it's like I'm still going to put myself out there. I'm still going to love. I'm still going to believe in the good in people, and this is all behind you. This is all behind you. You are done with that darkness and that heartbreak and these storms and all of it. It's all behind you. And then you have Judgment. So then it's like on top of that, like you're being freed energetically, emotionally from it, right? And I think that's from a lot of what's happening in the beginning of the year that we talked about earlier. But what is that? Vengeance is the Lord's. They're telling me that Bible verse about that. Like these people who did these things, like they're not getting off scot-free. And it may have felt like that for some of you. And there may have been times where it's like, how can I be going through all this and feeling all this, and they just like, they get to just skate off into the sunset and everything's hunky-dory for them, but it's not, right? Like, so it's going to be made right. It's going to come back around. You may not necessarily see it. You're not even going to care though. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're going to be past that. It's going to be like, you're going to be moving on, but that God hasn't forgotten. God hasn't forgotten. I'm getting a few different things here. It's hard to separate and articulate all of them because I'm hearing like three things at once. But so part of it is like, you're God's chosen, you're God's beloved, and they, you know, they hurt you. No weapon formed against you will prevail or prosper. So there's that's like one message. There's another message of, I sent you to them to bless them. I sent you to them so you could show them love, you could show them light, and they shit on it. So for some of you, these people that hurt you, betrayed you, whatever happened, for some of you, you were actually like an answer to their prayer. In some way, God was trying to bless them with you, and they crapped all over it. Yeah. So they're going to have to, I'm hearing reckoning, the day of reckoning. They're going to have to account for it. They're going to have to deal with the consequences of what they've done. And I'm hearing like, your table is being set before them. Like, you are going to be stepping into like this amazing season of your life. And in some way, they're going to be very aware of it. And you're going to be, it's like justice for what you've been through on both directions, like justice in terms of all of these magnificent, miraculous shifts and changes happening in your life for the better in this season of storms and pain and, you know, toxic people and things like that is ending because of the work you've done, and because of you are going inward all this past year, doing all this work, doing all this healing, and now it's like, you've broken these cycles as a result. You've broken these patterns, and now it's like you're not even going to be visible to these types of people anymore. And the ones who have done the damage and caused you the pain are going to be, you know, they're going to get what's coming to them for what they've done, whatever that is that God sees fit. And then the Hermit, as we move into the end of August, last part of this, or last part of the third quarter, we have the Hermit. So this is going to be a time where you're going to really feel a need to go inward, withdraw a little bit, not in a, I'm not getting like in a negative way or in a way of like, oh, I need to be alone. It's more like to just take in. I'm hearing like sitting in gratitude, solitude and gratitude, to just like reflect on how far you've come, on all the things that you've moved through, on the things that you've overcome, on the things that, just the ways that life is shifting and changing for you. And so you're going to need to give yourself some time and space to just kind of process and also adjust, because you're also going to be continuing to ascend and up level in this year as you're moving forward. I'm hearing recalibrate. So you're gonna need to give yourself time and space to kind of recalibrate and like adjust to these amazing positive things that are coming into your life. And then moving into the last quarter, we have oh my goodness. Okay, so we have 5 of Pentacles, 9 of Pentacles, and 10 of Cups. Like, my goodness. So 5 of Pentacles, 9 of Pentacles, 10 of Cups. So much abundance, fulfillment, dreams come true, somewhere over the rainbow, the pot of gold on the end of the rainbow. This is all what I'm hearing. The fruits of your labor, a beautiful harvest, reaping your rewards. So moving into the last quarter. I feel like you're going to be confronted with sort of like maybe a trigger, or maybe like, I'm hearing new level, new devil, right? Because you're going to be right on the cusp of all this like abundance and fulfillment, like all of your dreams, all of the things you've been desiring and manifesting, coming to you. And you're going to be right on the cusp of that. And so you're going to get hit with like, oh shit, like that bottom dropping out thing's going to pop back up for you. Some of the things that you've worked through in terms of triggers and fears and anxieties are going to pop back up because you're stepping into this new season, all of this abundance, all of this, just this whole turn of events, this whole shift in fortune for you. And you're going to have a moment of like, oh man, like almost overwhelmed, or like, what if I mess it up? That's what I'm hearing, like this, what if I mess it up kind of thing. But like, it's like, don't forget, you hold the key. You hold the key. It can't be taken from you. You can't mess this up. Like, just like, don't sit with that for too long, and don't let it kind of consume you. Just recognize that it's coming up because you're on the cusp of having it all, of receiving everything that you've ever wanted. And so it's like that natural fear, like, can it really be this good? Like, I mean, imagine if you won the lottery, right? Like, imagine, because I'm getting all this right now, like if I won the lottery, like I'd start to panic, like, what if I lose the ticket? What if there's something wrong with the ticket? What if I go to take the ticket and they tell me it's not, you know what I mean? Like, you kind of start to get into this, like, what's the catch? What if something happens? Like, so there's going to be like this sort of time of that as you were like right on the cusp of everything. But don't forget all the things you learned. Don't forget all the work that you've done, and just know that it's just the old stories, and it's your those sort of triggers and that internal stuff that's like hitting you when you're right at the threshold of everything that you've been wanting. And so then moving into the last part of the year, the last couple months of the year, just, it's like fulfillment with yourself, with life, prosperity and abundance of your own doing. Nobody, it didn't come from anyone else. it's all a result of you and your efforts and your gifts and your talents and following your passion. And it's like you're just so like you're in such a beautiful place with this at this part of this point in the year and this last part of the year. It's like just such a level of fulfillment and gratitude and appreciation as well as self-love, and also like it's like this finally like really understanding how abundant you are in and of yourself and your own ability to create abundance, prosperity, wealth, um, happiness, love for yourself without anyone else, without anything else. Like you, so it's a beautiful place to be moving into, because then it's like you have this next card and coming into this next place of just complete fulfillment. All your cups are filled, all your cups are running over. Um, it's just like everything you've ever wanted, everything you could ever dreamed of, all that you could have ever wished for and more. It's like beyond your wildest dreams. And I'm getting like flow. I'm getting a symphony, God's symphony of love. They're showing me it's interesting. They're showing me this rainbow and these like lines moving through it and how it kind of looks like music. And then there's also this element of a loom and weaving. Like you've woven this reality. You've created this beautiful reality and fulfilled your dreams and your desires just by being in flow and allowing it. And they're taking you back to what we started with, the three universal laws: the first law of non-attachment, the law of polarity, and the law of bold action. So as you move through the year and allow these laws to guide you and recognize that you're moving through them and how you can really learn from them and master them, um, and being the neutral observer of the things that happen in life as we move through the year, and learning to look at things as, what is this showing me? What is this teaching me? What is this presenting to me that I need to look at, to let go of, or to release, or to heal, or to shift? Because when you can start to look at things that way, you can change it, you can clear it, you can progress forward. When instead, if alternatively, if you allow yourself to go into that victim mode of woe is me and oh, why is this happening? And everything's dreadful. Well, you're just going to stay there versus getting into a place of allowing yourself to go, what is this showing me and how can I change it? And it can happen very quickly when you do that. So, my friends, that is our message for 2024. That is what is ahead for us in 2024. It is going to be the best year yet. All of that hard work that you've been doing on yourself, to heal, to grow, to continue to be better and better every day is paying off big time. So continue to go within, continue to tap into your inner creator, continue to stay close to God, and continue to move forward in the work that you're doing, because it's all coming together in this year ahead. So with that, I'm going to wish you all a very, very beautiful, blessed, and abundant new year. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you all in the next episode.